Well, hello and good morning. Back to the drawing desk and back to some inky drawings with me, Kieron Seamons. In my little inky world where I kind of draw every day as I try to keep my flexibility with drawing. And the more you draw, the more flexible you will be. The same as you do your exercises in the morning, you should do your sketching drawings in the morning. I like to do it on rather large paper. But you can do your drawing on whatever you want, with whatever you want. So, if you're in the mood to do a little bit of drawing and splashing some ink and being a little bit wacky with whatever we think, let's do it. Let's do some drawing. You and me. Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to get into some drawing. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and get into some loose sketching. And I do like to do this form of loose sketching where you just draw down whatever's coming in your mind. I find it's a very good way to draw. It's a very good way to keep your mind ticking along. And I'm going to start off probably with a little bit of a okay, well that's kind of interesting. Okay, and what that does is that gives me some kind of shape in my mind. It gives me some kind of thing for my brain to start calculating, my brain to start going, oh, that looks like a goldfish, oh, that looks like a pterodactyl, oh, that looks like a... And that way it gets to this point of activating the mind in a way of kind of like, what is it, what is it, what is it? And I love that because it does really kind of get to the point of kind of getting your mind moving and getting your mind thinking. I'm just trying to put in a different type of ink into this. This is not a usual, this is kind of more of a printing ink. And I'm just trying to see if I can kind of build up a little bit of texture onto it. Within that watery ink, I'm putting down a very solid ink, and it will just give it that texture, give it that little something, and that will just break up the water a little bit, bring in some kind of pattern to it. And the whole point of that is to kind of give me that unusual. It kind of breaks it up into it, so I'm not looking at it saying, oh, well, that's a dog, or oh, that's a camel, you know. I'm trying to break it down into a way that I'm doing some kind of shape that I really don't know what I could do. And that way, it does kind of get me into a way of kind of just releasing my thoughts. And that way I usually end up with a drawing that is a little bit different, a little bit unusual, a little bit something that I wouldn't have sat down to draw. And like I was saying at the beginning, you know, drawing is like doing exercises. It really is. It's kind of like, you know, if you wake up in the morning and you do your 100 push-ups, by the end of the year you're going to be a very fit person. Or at least with decent sized arms anyway. And that's pretty much the same way with drawing, but in the same way that you can't just kind of like do your biceps, do your biceps, do your biceps, means I can't just draw camels, draw camels, draw camels. I have to work time on my calf muscles. I have to work on my leg muscles, my thigh muscles, my stomach muscles. And it's the same way with drawing. You really have to kind of get to a point where you're drawing in different ways. And this is one way that I choose to draw. And this is a way that it just kind of, you know, I sit down and I do my illustrations. I do my illustrations from my books. At the moment I have a couple of books going on, and what happens is it gets to the point where you're going, right, I have to draw that teddy bear, right, draw that teddy bear, right, I have to draw that camel, I have to draw that camel. And if you're drawing a book, it's usually a story about a camel, so you're drawing, every page you're drawing a camel, so you know what you're going to draw before you put your pen down. So these type of sketching, these free flow sketchings, give me freedom. They give me freedom to kind of just draw whatever comes to my mind, and I love that. I love that a lot. I love to kind of release some of those feelings and those thoughts. Yes, you will still fall into patterns. That was one of the questions from you lovely people, was about, do you still fall into patterns even if you try to be free flowing and whatever. Yes, patterns. I know how to draw a nose, I know how to draw a leg, and quite commonly I draw a circle for an eye, but in the same way you can kind of fall back onto, okay, I don't know what this is going to be. Okay, so I know how to draw a set of teeth. I will draw a set of teeth. Or I don't know how to draw. I'll draw a nose. I know how to draw this certain type of nose. I think that would fit. Yes, but I do try not to. Again, I'm trying to get into this way of just kind of letting my mind decide and not planned. So these drawings are not planned, and neither are the creatures that come from it. And in most kind of situations, I really have no idea quite. It's kind of looking very fish-like. I don't know whether it's because I've done that type of. You see, I did trying to find a kind of jaw line. I ended up drawing lots of lines, and it kind of looks very much like a gill. So it is beginning to look very fish-like. Maybe it will be a fish. Who knows? A pike, even. The way the teeth look in. But I do recommend drawing on a very regular basis if you're planning on being an artist or you're wanting to do more with your art. I would suggest sketching on the bus or sketching in your lunch break or whatever, if you do have a job. And it can be something you can basically sit down and say, well, today I'm going to draw zoo animals. Today I'm going to draw farm animals. Today I'm going to draw sports poses. You know, you can kind of just... Strange. Now also the spots there on the back have really helped Well, I guess in a way it's also kind of brought it more into that kind of Pike or such feeling by having the spots on the back. Interesting. Okay. Now I draw like this. I just happen to draw on large paper because I do prefer to draw big, but you can draw small. I've got some small kind of test sheets there as well that are very, very small, A5 size, and I scribble up ideas. And okay, let's take that type of fish feeling. There is a fish in the Worry Lip story, but he doesn't quite look like this. So I can't even use this drawing. I really quite like the way that has. I wonder if I could add some more of that in there. Just to kind of bleed it across a little bit. And that will give it a little bit more of a kind of bleeding in type of texture. I'll just drag that down a little bit more. That's quite pretty. A strange, I don't know if you can hear that strange whistling. It's the sound of the wind coming through the window. So this is a very good way of drawing so that it loosens up your thinking, and it does break up your very, 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 very repetitive thinking, which can be a problem, especially if you're working in design. I worked in design for years, doing character designs and such, and what you will find is that somebody will say, "Oh, we've got a fox in this story, and we want to have like a superhero fox." And you go, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I can do that. Yep, yeah, I can do that." And the worst thing that any of you designer people can do is to go and start looking at other people's drawings of foxes. That is the worst crime you can do. Because all you're going to do is you're going to be influenced to a point where it's just not going to work for you. Because, you know, chances are you might be looking at 5 or 6 ideas, but you'll take it into your boss, your art director or whatever, and he'll say, "Oh yeah, I love that, but it looks a little bit like that was one of my references. Oh, I like this one too, but that looks a little bit too much like that was another one of my references." And you can't help looking at other people's artwork without kind of not stealing, but without kind of getting influenced greatly by them. Especially if it's something that you look at and you go, "That is what I'm looking for." Something like that. Yeah. Then all you're going to do is you're going to get to a point where you're going to start taking bits of that and taking bits of that. And you might find that the art director will just look at it and say, "Oh, that looks like, no, I don't like that one. I don't like that one." Whereas if you were to just throw down something like this, throw down some shapes, start working from shapes, and you might start finding that you're coming up with characters that are completely original. Right, what am I doing? What am I doing? Where am I? Where am I? Alright, I have no idea what that long line is that I have just drawn. Thank you, brain. That's my second brain. My second brain's going there. Yeah, let's do this, and you gotta kind of slow down and catch up with it sometimes, you know. The artist with two brains. Hey, that'd be a good title for my autobiography. More like the artist who thought he had two brains. Right, okay, I've got an idea. Obviously my second brain was way ahead of me. And since it was a fish, he's obviously got this idea. Hey Kieron, let's do a fishing rod. Okay, it's kind of a bit of a wacky idea, but sure, why not? But that's also part of it. Part of it is like listening. You know? Listening. What is going on? What are you thinking about? What is your mind thinking about? In the same way that when you're dreaming, you know, when you're dreaming, your dreams are coming up with strange thoughts. And they're not pre-planned. They're not something that you've thought about. It's basically your second brain or whatever inside is going, hey, you know, that dream of Jennifer, that dream of a green bus, that you going and eating a shepherd's pie, all these, who's Jennifer? Why shepherd's pie? You know? And it's a very, very, very lovely way to kind of see a different view. It's almost like having somebody else to talk to, almost, you know. The only person I talk to these days is Mr. Miro. And he's a good conversation. He's a good chat. He is a good chap. So that's him fishing. So we are getting into this. And the lovely thing is that when I've finished all my drawings and they all go and sit on the side, sometimes they will sit there. And, you know, I'll decide to tidy up, put some of the drawings upstairs or something like that. And I'll start flicking through them and I'll say, oh, I don't remember that one. That's quite special. It's quite different. Oh, that's very interesting. And your mind will start to kind of catch up in a strange way. It catches up with what you've been drawing. Using the finger, some of the ink has blotched. I'm just going to take some of it. So in the future, when they're doing a a movie about the artist 100 years ago, and they say, yes, on this drawing he actually put his fingerprints all through. We know it's Kieron's because he got his fingerprints all over the tail of the fish to make it more believable. There you go, fingerprints. There you go. That'd be lovely in some TV program in the future. They're doing a documentary about crazy artists from the 2020s, and they'll be talking about it, saying this one here is because he's got, you see down the bottom there, he's got his fingerprints, so we know that it was him. Yes, you know, all that kind of guff. I do. Some of those art programs do they do choose some very nutty people to do the programs, that's for sure. Alright, let's draw a nice kind of fishing basket down here somewhere. So, like I said, I'm in the middle of a couple of books. Worry Lips being one of them, and I'm really, really excited about getting back into doing another Worry Lips book. I really did enjoy doing those. And I'm really... Yesterday was I did one of the Worry Lips. So far it didn't get many views in the first day, but you know, you can never really know. You know, I will sometimes say, yesterday not many people watched the drawing, and then you know somebody will say, because yesterday was Christmas Day or something like that. Oh, was it? I was like, or yesterday was a big you know, some kind of amazing thing happened around the world, and I had no idea what was going on. So, you know, just throwing a little bit of a weave on there for it. And that's just to show his little fishing basket there. Let's just draw the other side of the lake over there. Draw a little tree. Over in the back there. And it just kind of adds a little bit of a scenery around it. So he's obviously there with his fishing basket. And you can see that the lake is behind him, so he's doing this kind of fishing in this environment. You can kind of finish that off around there. And again, it just kind of gives a nice type of a difference to your drawing methods, your drawing ways, and your drawing habits, you know. And I do find that sometimes it, see, that now has given me this lovely relaxed way of drawing, and it makes me now want to go and do some illustration, do something in a book, you know, start working out some of the worry lips drawings or such. And it does. It's like charging up a battery or something. It's like you've had some free flowing drawing and you're relaxing your mind, and then all of a sudden you've kind of got this energy from nowhere, you know. It's like having your own solar panel, your own energy, your own excitement has charged up your own internal battery. How incredible is that? Oh. So, Mr. Pike doing his fishing today. And I'm kind of feeling like the grey over there has really done a lot to build up the character. I'm tempted I might just go in and touch up a little bit more. Let's just put that ink down. Let's get my wet brush. Again, don't be afraid to use your finger. Get that childish side of you moving. And it's okay to be childish. Perfectly beautiful. Just a very light grey there, just to kind of soften everything in. And it really is not a paint, it's just a kind of dirty water. Dirty water is such a powerful tint. You know, this is just all the dregs of my ink that has fallen in from the paint brushes that I throw into that cup. I shouldn't really just say that it's a cup. I shouldn't say that it's a cup from my kitchen. I should say that it's some kind of art cup. All those people thinking, oh my God, he's using cups from his kitchen. Don't worry, they don't go back in my kitchen. And there we have a lovely, very kind of relaxed morning. Very, very beautiful. Lovely bit of fishing. Very nice. I'm really kind of enjoying the whole feeling of it, the whole atmosphere of it. Really quite beautiful. And there we have today's drawing. And I'm just going to put a frame around it. do love to frame the drawings. Always seems to bring a little bit of beauty to it. And that will be the end of today's drawing. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you did enjoy today, or you do like the idea of what I'm doing, come and join me. I try to draw most days, almost every day I'll do some kind of drawing of some sort, some kind of wild, crazy drawing adventure. And it's always fun. And for sure, you never know what I'm going to draw until we draw it. That is an absolute given. And that is today's drawing. Mr. Pike. Lovely. So, that is today's drawing. And I really enjoyed the whole feeling about today, the whole atmosphere, the whole character. I feel it just came so naturally to build up some kind of story about some kind of pike creature fishing to catch fish for his dinner with his little fishing basket. And I think it's lovely. I'm really pleased with it. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for coming. And don't forget to come back tomorrow. See what else we're doing tomorrow, because we're going to be doing some more crazy stuff tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe. See you very, very, very soon. Bye-bye. Send me a comment. Tell me what you think.